Hi, welcome to this video in which I am going to discuss appropriate use of apostrophe. If I remember correctly, in my very first video, I discussed its versus its, one its with an apostrophe, another without apostrophe, and I explained the difference between the two. So I thought, let me have a full-fledged discussion on the full range of the use of apostrophe. At the very outset, let me clarify, on your computer, personal computer keyboard, there is no separate key for apostrophe. You might have noticed one key which is meant for inverted commas. The same thing is used to write apostrophe. There are two kinds of inverted commas, single inverted comma and double. Of course, double inverted commas are now outdated. If you are quoting direct speech, you are not obliged to use double inverted commas. Anyway, so that is the place where you find the apostrophe. Second thing I realize, as I have observed personally, among all punctuation marks, apostrophe is the most misused punctuation mark. So, I suggest we should be careful about the correct use of apostrophe. First, let me discuss where apostrophe should not be used. Apostrophes are not used with pronouns. So, the first day I said, it's. Put this pen on the shelf or put this ball on the shelf and make sure it does not fall from its place. No apostrophe. Just its. Or the dog was trying to catch its own tail. No apostrophe. The cat has not yet eaten its food. No apostrophe. It apostrophe s simply means it is. So it is the short form of it is. It apostrophe s could as well mean it was, it has, and so on. So no pronouns use apostrophe except one, and this exception is very important, and most English teachers fail to explain this to their students, and that pronoun is one. Now, I will use two kinds of ones and try to distinguish. One should obey one's parents, or one should respect one's elders. In English, one has many meanings, and when you say one should do it, you mean people in general. That is smart English. Unfortunately, we don't use much in India. So, and sometimes one also refers to I, oneself. Like somebody says, hey, come on, you are not wearing woolen wares. And you say, well, one doesn't wear woolen wares in the month of April, does one? So, here you mean that why should you wear? Okay, one doesn't feel like doing this, or one doesn't feel like doing that. So you are referring to yourself. That is maybe a modest way to refer to oneself. So otherwise, people in general, one. So one should respect one's elders there you must put an apostrophe and then followed by S. Now, the other ones, look at it. You ask your son, your servant, daughter, anyone, go to the market and buy some apples. Make sure they are red. So you say, buy some tomatoes, apples, particularly the red ones. The red ones. Or make sure to buy the ripe ones. There it is pronoun. So ripe ones, O-N-E-S, without an apostrophe. So make sure that you don't use an apostrophe with a pronoun. Okay, then when you use plural forms of nouns, you don't use an apostrophe. Boy, boys, girl, girls, without an apostrophe. Houses, roads, you don't use an apostrophe. But I come across students writing plurals also with an apostrophe. Not only in the plural form of nouns, the tragedy is that sometimes students use an apostrophe with a verb. Like he writes beautifully and they spell it W-R-I-T-E and apostrophe and then S. He writes beautifully. That is very unfortunate. So apostrophe is not used with a verb. Do's and don'ts. Probably one of my video is based on do's and don'ts of something. Do's and don'ts. When you write do's, D-O-S, without an apostrophe, and don'ts. Do's and don'ts means something that you should do, and don'ts means something which you should avoid, you should not do. So don'ts, D-O-N, apostrophe T-S. Mind you, somebody may say, but apostrophe has been used with don't. Yes, but that apostrophe is not before S. It is D-O-N apostrophe T, but after T, straight comes S without an apostrophe. So try to avoid apostrophe in such places. Now, where to use an apostrophe? First of all, contractions. I give one example clearly. It's. So instead of it is, it was, it has, you use it apostrophe. Similarly, cannot is shortened to can apostrophe t. But mind you, pronunciation changes. You say can, I can do it, or I cannot do it. But when you put an apostrophe, can, then you can't pronounce can't, you pronounce can't. Well, Americans prefer to pronounce it can't, but we mostly follow British English. So can't becomes can't. Similarly, won't, short form of will not, wouldn't, short form of would not. So, where letters are missing, you use an apostrophe. You use an apostrophe mostly in the possessives, like boy's car. The boy's car has been stolen. So you are talking about a particular boy and you say the boy's car has been stolen. Boy apostrophe S. But mind you one thing, suppose there are more than one boy, then you don't put an apostrophe before S. So it is many boys, like boys hostel. B-O-Y-S and then apostrophe. It is slightly tricky. When you say boy's car has been stolen, boy apostrophe s means the car belonging to one boy, particular boy. But when you say boys hostel, boys and apostrophe follows s, means after s, not before s, you mean the hostel meant for not one boy but many boys. Mind you one thing, at this point I must add one thing. Boys are playing. Boys are playing. Boys, simply the plural of boy. Then boy's car has been stolen. Car belonging to one boy. And boy's hostel, apostrophe after us. There is absolutely no difference in the pronunciation of all these boys. So remember that. So in the possessive, you use an apostrophe. Sometimes you have to be extra careful. When I ask my children, what will you do? First I give example in class, like boys hostel, girls hostel. Of course, sometimes you find boys hostel, girls hostel even without apostrophe also. There boys and girls have been used as an adjective. It is as simple as that. So when I say boys hostel after s, what about children's? They say children's. Yes, first I will write children's and then put apostrophe. Then I remind them, no, you can't write children's and then apostrophe. Why not, sir? Because children is already the plural form of child. So mind you, when you say children's doctor or a home for a children's home, then never put an apostrophe after s, because children is the plural of child. So there the apostrophe will come before s. Also it is important to remember, there are nouns, words ending with s. There you don't have to write an apostrophe. There you simply put an apostrophe after s, after the word. You don't put an apostrophe before the noun. So like parents, my parents plan. So you don't write parents is the plural of parent. Parent simply means both mother and father. So you don't have to write parents apostrophe s. No, you just put an apostrophe after parents. But there are exceptions, particularly when you use proper nouns like Charles says. Charles says book. Charles says house. So you write Charles, then you use an apostrophe and put another s. I repeat, first write Charles, Charles, put an apostrophe, then write else, Charles says. So don't apply the same rule that I do not need to put. Yes, sometimes you come across Charles says written without an extra s, but that is not fully correct. Now there is one tricky thing here which I must mention, and that is like Socrates, what we say in Hindi Sukrat, Socrates ending with tes. If you say Socrates philosophy without any apostrophe, you are using Socrates as an adjective. But in formal English, you write Socrates, then apostrophe, and then you write philosophy. You need not write an extra s if you don't want to, but remember one thing, even if you don't write an extra s after apostrophe and Socrates is ending only with an apostrophe, remember the extra s which is missing, which is hidden, must be pronounced. That is Socrates' philosophy. So that z sound would come twice. first S with the name Socrates and second S which you have not written, that is hidden, but you must pronounce. This may sound a little ludicrous, but remember that is the way English should be used. Then there is one strange rule about apostrophe, like he put his proposal, but I did not like it because his proposal submitted is full of ifs and buts. So you don't write IFS, instead you write IF apostrophe S. There are many ifs and buts, BUT apostrophe then S, ifs and buts. Then suppose you are correcting or you are trying to improve the handwriting of your children, of your students, and let's say a student's B or D, that is not clear. So you want him to improve. So what you say, Suresh, I'm sorry, you must improve your B's, B apostrophe S. Meaning, whenever he writes B, maybe his B looks like D. So you say, you must improve your B's. So you write B, then you put apostrophe and then S. Means all your B's or all your D, B's and D's. So if you take care of such things, you will be using it correctly. I hope you find it helpful. See you again in the next video.